Okay, so everybody's losing their goddamn minds over Ricky Gervais' latest Netflix special, aren't you? Ricky Gervais looking every bit like a scared, ignorant, pointless old white man, punching down and telling utterly shit jokes. Gervais, pointless and nasty. Yeah, so that's the gist of it. That's the kind of thing people are saying about Ricky Gervais, that he's a nasty white man who's punching down and being very nasty. So I guess let's listen to what he actually said.
Well, I am woke now, and I can prove it. Here you go. I love illegal immigrants. Yeah, sue me now. Sometimes I go down to Dover for the day, right? And I look out, right? I look for a boat, and I see a dinghy with about 60 of them, and I go over here, like, right? And I pull them in to shore, and I go, women and children first. They go, there are no women and children. Just you lads, is it? Just, come on, lads. Come on, lads. If I go down there one day and there's no boat, I am absolutely fucking gutted. I just sort of wander into town and I stand by the traffic lights and I wait for a big lorry to pull up, right? And I look underneath and there's a lad sort of clutching like that. And I go, where you headed? And he goes, Gary Lineker's house. I go, it's just down there.
So it seems that that is the most controversial bit from Ricky Gervais' special this year, him sort of laughing at the hypocrisy of people's takes on illegal immigration. Now, I don't have any problem with that joke. I rarely do have a problem with a joke. After all, jokes are there to try and make you laugh. They either succeed or fail.
Go fuck yourself.
I would say if I were going to critique anything at all about that joke and about the show, it's that if you're a comedian, perhaps you want to avoid your shows becoming political rallies. You want to avoid people going there to whoop and holler at you on stage. You want them to laugh, right?
Are you having a laugh?
But I don't think that's really on Ricky Gervais. I think that's just the times we live in. To me, Ricky, what he's doing there is looking at a serious situation that if you were to go on any kind of talk show or a news show and you had to talk about illegal immigration and you made those kinds of comments, which are the kind of obvious thing that a lot of people think but can't really say in polite society, then people would just accuse you of being facetious and being heartless. And, you know, that is the job of a comedian, isn't it? They're there to sort of reflect the ridiculousness of the things you can't say. They're supposed to look at a situation, see the obvious things that stand out to everyone that nobody says and say them. So there's none of this is on Ricky. However, I would say that a lot of people who are defending Ricky are doing... I don't know what they're defending him from. His show is #1 on Netflix. It's trending all over the world. It's getting millions and millions of views. He doesn't seem to be affected by it. Nothing he is doing is being affected by the reaction of a few people on Twitter and YouTube.
No one died.
I don't know if that will change over the coming days, if there will be calls to cancel him in some way, if any kind of commentary is going to negatively affect Ricky Gervais' career in some way. But he's been doing this for a long time now. You know, this sort of shocking comedy, saying what can't be said.
Ricky Gervais in his stand-up, he says the unsayable, apparently. Except he doesn't, does he? He says the sayable. By definition. We all do.
I feel like a lot of people are preempting the woke mob cancellation of Ricky Gervais, and it's not really happening. And I'm seeing this a lot with comedians. If you go on Netflix now, you look at all the comedians' Netflix specials, all the controversial ones are there. I spoke about Matt Rife in recent videos where he's actually trying to cash in on this idea that he's been cancelled. He's going on all these conservative podcasts, you know, and talking to them about how I'm just trying to make a joke.
He's been the subject of a relatively dedicated cancel campaign in recent weeks.
It's a modern twist on an old joke. You know, if it's not for you, you are so more than welcome to turn off the TV right now.
You had any negative responses? You said you had no negative responses to anything you've ever said so far.
At a
when you're
live
actually
show?
on stage. Yeah. But what about out in
Never.
the actual world?
Not once. Never once has somebody come up to me and said, hey, I didn't like the thing you said.
I don't think Ricky Gervais is doing that, by the way. I have to say, I don't think Ricky Gervais is trying to shock everyone and then trying to live off the cancellation, the quote-unquote cancellation. However, I do think a lot of people think that he is going to be cancelled, and they're all worried about the woke mob coming for him. There is no woke mob coming from him. He says it himself.
My last show, Supernature, dropped on Netflix last year. Big backlash, wasn't there? Big backlash. People going, you can't say that. You can. I did.
I've been searching through Twitter and YouTube all day for, trying to find woke lunatics losing their mind about Ricky Gervais. And I've got to be honest, I can't really find very much. There's a few randomers sort of tweeting about him, like the one I showed at the beginning of the video, but I don't think it's as big a deal as people are making out. There are a lot of people who dislike Ricky Gervais's comedy. They do find it insensitive or crass or whatever. I'm going to be careful how I word this. Not because I'm scared of getting cancelled. I could pretend to get cancelled. Maybe that way I'd meet Ben Shapiro. Yeah, anyway, the point is I am going to be careful how I word this because I don't want to insult Ricky Gervais. And the reason is, and this is really difficult for me because I don't like giving out praise willy-nilly, okay? That's not what the Daniel Boland show is about.
Who's Daniel Boland?
We don't like praise. That could actually be our motto. The Daniel Boland show.
Go fuck yourself.
I like much of Ricky Gervais's work. Particularly The Office, the UK Office, that is. I went away and watched the American Office like you all told me to a few weeks back. It's, you're wrong, basically. The UK Office is top tier. American Office, I guess if you've never seen the UK Office, it's okay, right? But no. Point is, I like a lot of stuff that Ricky Gervais has had to say through his art, through The Office, through Extras, and through Derek, and not so much, but also in Afterlife and other things. But I do feel that there is some legitimate criticism that can be levelled at his stand-up. Don't cancel me! Don't shoot the messenger, and obviously take this all with a pinch of salt, but Ricky Gervais's subreddit have turned on him. Now, I know that that's not necessarily an indication of anything, okay? After all, Reddit is like the French Foreign Legion. It's where all the psychos hang out. But from time to time, they do make some solid points, those absolute lunatics.
POV, you're at a Ricky Gervais stand-up. Shut up. Dogs are amazing. Can't joke about anything these days. Wokeness, rape, Holocaust joke, followed by, these are just jokes, I don't care. Something Bob said, lots of Carl quotes scattered in. Reference to afterlife, famine. Old man in tight black t-shirt waddles on stage to rapturous applause. Old man sips from a plastic cup of lager and stares off contemplatively into the middle distance. Audience waits with bated breath. Cunt! Audience applauds furiously. A standing ovation begins. They begin tearing up the theatre in spasms of unbridled ecstasy and like vomiting on each other and that. Look at the state of that.
Who'd want to shag that?
Seriously, is this an anti-Ricky sub, or was it a joke that I missed in the beginning that grew legs and kept going if it is? Kudos. I love everything.
Most people here are fans of his earlier work with Steve. We are sad to see him become a sellout edgelord, reusing the most unfunny, low-hanging jokes and constantly kissing his own ass about how good Afterlife is.
Yeah, so another hero being devoured by their own subreddit. I mean, I've got to say, a few of the things that were said there, they've crossed my mind in the past with Ricky's stand-up. You know, I was watching it last night, and the big problem for me is I didn't laugh a lot. I kind of knew where he was going with every joke. I could imagine the punchline. It was a little bit low-hanging fruit. And I know a lot of people think that he's very brave for saying all of these things, but I don't think even he thinks that. Right? He said it himself. Look, I'm #1 on Netflix. All of his specials do really, really well. He's made millions, and he's always said what he's thought. I'm in two minds about it. Certainly, I'm not in two minds about what he said. I absolutely celebrate the fact that he's giving it to those... No, I won't. I'll stop myself there. What do you think? I don't know. I wasn't particularly amused. However, I don't think anyone should be going around cancelling anybody, and nobody is. So that's great. And I love The Office. Don't cancel me. I'll see you in the next one.
People get offended when they mistake the subject of a joke with the actual target. Yeah. And they're not necessarily the same thing. You can make jokes about any subject. It depends what the joke is. Yeah. There's no rules. You can't joke about this. You can. You should be able to. You just can. People then they go, wow, yeah, but you shouldn't hurt people's feelings. Well, you can if their feelings are wrong. Yeah. You know, if you don't like the facts, don't change the facts, change the feelings. Yeah. You know. How arrogant are you to think that you deserve to go through life with no one ever saying anything that you don't agree with or like? If you're so fragile that you think that a joke about someone can destroy it, well, you need something else then. It's nonsense. And now people saying, you know, people mistake sometimes demanding equality, right, by not being part of humour. Yeah. It's actually demanding privilege. Yeah. It's nonsense, but I agree. It's someone says they're offended. I want people to stop saying that joke's offensive. Yeah. I want them to start saying I found it offensive, because you've got to own the emotion, because that's all it is. You're just telling me how you feel about it. Yeah. There's nothing intrinsically offensive about this joke.
Fuck, man. Fuck, yeah. Keep doing it, fucking dick, fuck.